Then who ordered you to come here? My friend, go away.
I must say that it was a very good exercise for the Black Stars. We looked at the performance of the Namibians, especially in the first half. You know, they started the game very, very well. In the first half, I must admit that the Namibians were slightly ahead of the Black Stars team. One thing I've realized from the Namibians team is that whenever they get the ball, you look at the transition, how they do the transition from the defense to midfield to attack. So excellent. They don't balloon the balls. When they get the ball, they relax, they possess the ball, and then they build up a very good transition to the attack. On the side of the Black Stars, in the first half, they didn't play that good football, let me say that, but in the second half, look at the changes Coach Cohesion did. Bringing in players like Enes Nyama, Majida Shimeru, Dede Ayu, Salisu at the back. You could see that at least they brought some stability in the team. So it was a very good exercise. Now, Cohesion will get to know the strengths of his team. So you will see that he has more work to do ahead of the AFCON.
I would say, sir, I'm sure the technical team won't be looking at the results. They'll be looking at a lot of patterns, whether it was successful or not. Training sections are winding, I'm sure they will be judging the game based on training sections, not necessarily the results. Judgments are different from the technical team. So I would like to talk for the ordinary Ghanaian. Honestly, I think that major different from the previous games slow build up in the first half. We impressed so well. We have Bona as a lackadaisical play kakra a second half. It's obvious to say there were a lot of impact plays. It's a second half, whatever the coach shows in those plays, and next year Usman Bukari, Majida Shimeru, Dede. When these impact guys come, say first 15 minutes of their game, Ghana best started up a ball, and of course it was expected they did that. Ghana started saying creating chances in the early stages of the game, especially when those players came on. But again, after that, Esanso came back to normal. So I think that personally, I'm extremely impressed, and I've not seen major changes from our previous games, which I am not happy about it, because I'm expecting in Cameroon at least a major improvement. Now, coach in the selection, me to say, major changes here at AFCON. Probably if Kudus is fit, he coming for Rashford, no about the boss and my 10th position. A lot of changes. So I am also assuming that the same pattern now, which we'll probably have to pray. Say first half, young concede go. Second half, not the impact place never normal behavior. But I think that in all, maybe the only excuse I would take is the fact that players now shut down for one shame because Sunday will game. But that's how I will accept.
But must we always leave it late to perform well in the second half?
That is my headache, because whenever you both first half, you have a bad performance. The coach quickly looks into the bench. He picks good wingers, because wingers no more but not the pace never. Usman, you watched him. He was taking fullbacks on, and the extreme man was taking them on. And all these impact players, you saw Majida Shimeru. They can a creative chance. So all these players are impact. Into coaching them, it looks like that is the style of play. Second half, I'll put this boy in. On the creative chances, they are Black Stars. Hopefully, we'll score. And I think that the Shatima or see a game no bonus, no be punishing early in the first half. We will suffer. And that is my worry. Beyond that, we feel we are very careful going to the AFCON. First game is very crucial. Of course, we are playing Cup of Red. This style of playing in the first half, maybe I might end 0-0 first half. We'll throw in the impact players. it is a goalless draw. It is a 1-1 game. When you play Egypt's ball game, different ball game, because Egypt will punish you in the first half, you will not come back. And that is my fear, because the second game, now a 1 pointer, you are done. I am very particular about our first game and our first half in our first game. We should not play like the normal Black Stars and the Cohesion. First half, very slow build up, ball, a lot of back passes, because Baba you should the ball so the easiest option is to look at the right, the left, the same with Elisha, so you can count the number of back passes and that is a worry to me. But we can only hope. We can only hope.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think it wasn't impressive, especially, you look at the transitions. It was very much non-existent in the first half of the game, which gave us limited opportunities in expanding our play and creating goal-scoring opportunities, exploring the channels of opponents in defense to give attackers that chance to score goals. And for me, I think if you limit opportunities or goal scoring chances to your opponent, to your attackers, it becomes difficult for you to even threaten your opponent's defense. And that was very problematic of the Black Stars. And talking about the transition, from defense it was solid. You could see Daniel Amati, Alexander Jiku wanted to play from the back. But when it gets to the midfield, there is no progress of the ball. There is no switch in that midfield to move the ball into attacking zones and create those passing channels and lanes for our expansive wingmen. The reason why Iñaki Williams was just walking through the game and couldn't be fed with the balls and ultimately had to be substituted in the second half. The second half gave us some very good bites of attack and explosive moments when Jonathan Sowa came off. And it begs the question, why is it that the team plays better in the second half? During that second half, he was fed with the ball 2 times, and on all those 2 occasions, he made very good use of the ball, which gave him a 1-on-1 situation. Unfortunately or fortunately for the Namibians, they brought him down, and then the free kick was eventually saved by the goalkeeper. I think the team still needs a lot more cohesion in the team. The profiling of the players by this technical team seems to be a bit problematic, because you cannot play 2 players of the same style when you want to create goal-scoring opportunities. And I think Chris Hughton, Didi Dramani, George Boateng, knowing very well that going into the tournament, if you limit play and you want to play very well in the second half, by the first half, opponents will just finish you up, and then it will be difficult for you to come back probably in the second half. So there's a lot more that needs to be done. Our goalkeeping too, it's a problem. I think Richard Ofori may be good at his feet, but his reflexes are a bit down. He's not as sharp as before. You can blame it to the consistent injuries and inability to stay in post for a very long time in the last 2 years. Atizigi also comes into the post, and you expect him to keep calm, help the defense build, and that transition from defense. And he also decides to kick the ball just into the opponent half, giving it back, because his kicks don't even find the intended target and gives the ball away to the opponent. These are bits and pieces and lapses that we have in our team. Maybe attributing to the fact that Kudus Mohammed, Salih Samed, Antoine Semenyo, who are supposed to be integral members of this team, did not play today. But you ask yourself, in the absence of this, should a red card happen? Should we have an injury to Salih? Should Kudus Mohammed fail to glitter in the game? Where are we going to find our goals? It's a very huge question that the technical team needs to solve.
Chris Hughton just addressed the media, and from his position, he seemed to be so comfortable in the second half performance of the team. Must we always leave it late?
Well, he was comfortable with the second half performance, but you ask yourself, even in the second half, how many shots on target did the team find? It was just about 3 or 4. And you cannot play as a team and have just 3 or 4 chances on target, and you cannot find a goal in those moments. The team needs to start playing well. It should start from the scratch, the first half of games, because you never know opponents who will limit you to prevent you from even playing well in the second half. And I think we cannot always allude to the fact that yes, it's a team problem. If it's a team problem, that is why there's a head coach. He needs to resolve this issue as the head of the technical team. The Black Stars may be doing well in the second half, but is it convincing enough? For me, I think it's not even convincing enough in the second half. Just create more goal scoring opportunities opportunities, bury them. How many shots on target? How many times was the Namibian goalkeeper forced to make saves? You can count them, about 4 or 5 times. But if you are Ghana and you're going into the tournament with high hopes as 4-time champions, wanting to break the 41-year dark of not winning the AFCON title, they need to do better. This is a 2/10 performance for me.
Thank you.
I wish I could say something positive, but from what we saw this evening, there seemed to be a persistent problem with the Black Stars, which is having issues in the box. We seem to lack firepower in the box, especially when we attack. We create chances, but we don't convert them. And today we saw the same thing. It has been consistent with the Black Stars under Chris Wilton, and I was expecting that with some few days to a tournament that we've been chasing for a very, very long time, there could be some hope, and then there could be something that we could bank our beliefs on. But unfortunately for us, we created some chances, especially in the second half, but we could not bury them. It's a problem that we need to solve as quickly as possible. That aside, we also seem to have another issue in our defensive box. Any good team should have a very good defense when you go into tournaments. We seem to concede a lot of chances in our boxes, but we are always fortunate with the opposition. They seem not to be converting those chances. And going into a tournament like this, if you're going to meet teams that do have top strikers, when you leave your defense that open and you concede a lot of chances, then you might end up conceding a lot of goals, which won't augur well for you in the tournament. So for me, I think Coach Chris Wilton had a lot of work to do in this short space of time to make sure that Ghana will be up there if we want to challenge for the trophy.
Considering the quality that Ghana has, must we always leave it late to perform in the second half, or the team can start glittering right from the first half?
Looking at Chris Wilton's team since he came over as the Black Stars head coach, you can always say that the team improves in the second half. But look, if you go into tournaments that teams are ready to punish you in the first half, if you don't take your chances, you might not be able to come into the game in the second half. You might take over the possession, but then you might have considered 2 or 3 goals that will put the game beyond you. So for me, I think Coach Chris Wilton needs to make sure that whoever starts the game will give out a performance that the second half players would also give. It's either you start well and you finish well, or you start well and then you finish with a below par performance, than to start with a below par performance and then up your game in the second half. If you're not fortunate, you might be out of the game before the second half comes in.
Considering the outcome of this game, what are your expectations for Ghana at the AFCON?
The reality is that I've not had higher expectations. Yes, Ghana is a powerhouse in African football. We are 4-time champions. Anytime you're going into any tournament, especially on the African continent, we are tipped to be one of the favorites to win. Yes, we are one of the favorites to win. But looking at the Black Stars and how we've declined with years gone by, I am just expecting them to do better than what they did in the last AFCON, which was a group stage exit. We need to be able to come out of the group stage, especially with 24 teams and then around 16 coming into this particular tournament. We need to do well, but to stick my neck out and say we are going to be the winners for this AFCON, we are not the best team going into this tournament. It's a competition that we can spring up surprises, but then I'm not expecting anything extraordinary. When we do, it's fine, hallelujah, but if we don't, I won't be too much surprised.
Thank you.
Does this performance inspire any confidence going into the AFCON for you?
It's topsy-turvy. I feel that we need to do more. If indeed we want to end that 41 years AFCON trophyless drought, this must not be the way we should be playing. We should be playing with a lot of authority. We played a game showing too much respect to Namibia. No disrespect to them, but Ghana must not be playing against Namibia and showing too much respect. Ghana did not attack Namibia in the first half, allowed them space to build from the back, and that gave them the leeway to develop in confidence. And eventually we struggled against them. Reason why we couldn't play in the first half. I have always disagreed with playing 4-back and 2 pivots. I have always disagreed because I think we have materials that can play 3-5-2, 3-4-3, give us variety up front and when we are defending as well. And when we are able to do this, I think that we'll be able to put pressure on our opponents and you know, push through our game plan and strategy. You are going to a major tournament like the AFCON, where 24 countries, each country has prepared for the trophy. It's not going to be a game that people will just show too much respect to the name Ghana. A lot of countries on the continent have realized that the name Ghana is the only thing that is left with us. And for that matter, when they are playing against Ghana, they push high. At the point in time in the first half of the game, Namibia were not allowing Ghana to build from the back. You pick the ball, they press you high and take back the ball. Amazing. And I think it is something that Ghana should be doing. I feel that even with the 4-back, regardless of the fact that I disagree with 4-backs, I don't like playing 4-back. If I become a coach, I wouldn't do it. I would only do it on rare occasions. But even with the 4-back, you should be able to show authority by pushing up high, pressing high, blocking passing lanes, showing your opponent that you have that quality. And if you're unable to do that, you allow your opponent to develop in confidence, and that will affect you in the end. So for me, I think that I'm not so confident going into the AFCON. Yes, Ghana is a miraculous country. A lot of people believe in a lot of miracles when we don't expect the team to be performing. But trust me, I think that the only thing we need to change about the team now is our pressing in the final third, in the middle third, and in the defensive half. How do we press our opponents when they have the ball? If we are able to do that right, trust me, we will go far in the tournament.